Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from DeltaCX.com. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy. Check us out and welcome to episode 164. I apologize if you are a listener to the audio only podcast. I have not put up the last four, so hopefully I will get this one and four more up, and it will be this giant wave of audio podcasts coming at you. But welcome to episode 164, which is another show about service design. We did one a year or two ago, and we got one person's perspective on it, but we've had a few requests to do another show about service design, so I wanted to bring the topic back and bring in someone who knows a few things and has experience in this area. So as soon as we'll bring him in shortly, but first, as always, let me thank everybody who managed to find the join button on YouTube and is giving between $3 and $10 American dollars to the show. And thank you. I put that towards streaming software and eating too many chocolate chips, which I definitely ate today. So thanks to everybody supporting the channel that way. It is optional, but always appreciated. So I am going to have us bring in Jan Wardecki, and I'm going to spell his name so that everybody can track him down on the LinkedIn. Jan is Jan, and Wardecki is Wardecki. All right, Jan, tell us about yourself. Welcome.
Welcome. Hello. What can I say? I'm really honored to be here because I was listening for a while your podcasts. So briefly, actually, I'm working in a UX center expertise in BNP Paribas Bank. My position is service designer, but I'm the only one service designer in the team, which is actually UX team. Funny thing.
Okay, and you've been doing service design how long now?
Well, actually, it's over 4 years in a complex environment in a bank. So this is a huge organization. That is why it's a great perspective from my point of view. In a complex organization, a service design actually brings value to the big organization, the complex organization, a huge organization.
And people will get to know you even better because I interviewed you for my book. So when my book someday comes out, hopefully later this year, they're going to get more of your perspectives there. And I learned when interviewing you that you started out, I think, as a product manager.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, product owner. To be honest, it was a while ago. I was a product owner responsible for actually a system for students at the university. But suddenly, I realized that the product actually depends not only on the software but also about the processes, about delivering value through different processes, different stakeholders. So basically I realized that it's good. I feel good when I actually trying to design a holistic experience for customers, and then I actually switched to the service design career path.
And let's start at the beginning because I'm sure many people watching this will think, well, hold on, UX design, product design, UI design, now service design. What is this and how is it different? Can you give a definition that's pretty basic that everyone can understand?
Well, maybe before I start the definition. I know the definition is the best thing, but I think that it's good to now to explain a little bit things about the product and service, because more and more people are asking, well, product or service, and this is the good point to start with, because in a traditional economics, you can see distinction between products and the services. Products are more tangible, and the service are not actually. For example, if you are going to the hospital, if you have a doctor's appointment, or just visiting a hotel, actually it's a service. And when you have a product, it's more tangible. You are buying the product, you are having the product, like some kind of application. So basically, the service are much more untangible, and that is why it's difficult sometimes to describe whole experience. But basically, lately I have actually seen a great definition of service design, It was the definition of Jacqueline Brew, I think this is the pronunciation, but it's actually great definition which actually describe what is the definition of service design. So basically, the service design, it's holistic approach and cross-functional approach for improving end-to-end human experience, but delivering from different touch points, like digital, physical one. So this is a good actually explanation. Holistic approach, cross-functional, through different touch points, not only a digital one.
And I would say, just in case we have the beginners watching, because I assume a lot of people are, let's define touch point, because I think even that can be a confusing term for people who haven't heard it before. What is it, and give us some examples.
Yes, of course. Actually, the touch point is the place where customer actually see or is involved in our product. The touch points could be, for example, mobile application, but also, for example, just a branch like in a bank, or it can a reception desk in a hotel. So we have different type of touch points, like physical one, as I mentioned, like a bank branch, like a reception desk, but we have also digital ones, like application web, but as well as you can see just a advert or just a thing on television that also is a touch point. So basically, you have different touch points. It depends on a device or the space.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, every time a customer or potential customer interacts with any aspect of our company, the marketing we see, the customer support person we talked to, the website we went to, the app we downloaded, the hotel we walked into, every moment is a touch point?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it's every moment is a touch point, and to be honest, this is the main point: how to actually design the experience, customer experience, from different touch points, from the digital ones to the physical ones. For example, what is the reason, or maybe a short example, if the service designer is entering the hotel and the UX designer is entering the hotel? For sure, they will see reception desk, but the user experience design start to think how to create a seamless check-in experience. And service designers think about, okay, except that, how we can actually design smoothly a system which is actually operating in this whole hotel in that way that the check-in will be faster, and what will be the not only customer but also employee experience during this check-in. So basically, the service designer will look from different angles, from different view, like from back office and the front office. And UX designers, I would say, they are much more focused on a person and customer needs. So this is the point, I think.
Okay, so Carity Joe says, service design is a horizontal function or practice in an organization?
It depends on organization, but to be honest, the service try to zoom out a little bit. And I would say that the UX designer, for example, in our zooming in the solutions, so the solutions are usable, they are able to actually conduct the research with users, but they're trying to zoom in to the digital solution. And actually, service designer try to have zoom out from this and try to see what kind of processes are supporting this digital solutions, what kind of procedures are important from the solutions. So basically, trying to care of the whole experience, not only in this, for example, digital channel.
Okay, and I remember from our interview that you said you were part of a UX team, but you were also part of your company's digital transformation department, because a service designer is not only creating change for the customers, but sometimes you're changing internal processes. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. It's not only about the internal processes, but also about the back office systems. As I sometimes the transformation are all about the customers, but this is the main point is how we can actually deliver this customer experience through the localizations. So sometimes the service designers we actually dealing with a back office system, like back office system for the branches and for the contact center, because actually it was important how we can deliver it after sale, some kind of services. So basically, we were actually not only designing, for customers, but mainly for back office systems, for processes, how to deliver, how to reduce this customer experience gap. It's the situation when we actually deliver great solutions for customers, like mobile apps, great application, great website, but suddenly for our employees we are not able to the value, or for example the task which they are actually performing in the back office are really, for example, very difficult, and it's difficult to deliver the value for the customers.
Got it. And so Janice and Udipta had the same question at the same time. They would love to hear more about what your day-to-day work on the job looks like, especially if you are the only service designer on the team or at the company.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the organization, but my day actually, and in general, my work is it's about the communication. You can ask, well, Jan, about the communication, you should design. And basically, it's about actually communicating with the stakeholders, product owners, trying to discover their expectations and trying to deliver, help them create value for customers. So basically, it's lots of meetings, lots of workshops to actually define what are their needs and then try to help them deliver the value through, for example, user research, user experience, but in terms of, for example, digital touch points. But basically it's about the meetings, about the workshops, trying to define the problem, solve the problem by some kind of frameworks, but basically it's about the dealing with the internal stakeholders and product owners and trying to define their needs, and after that plan how to help them. So there are different options, because sometimes it's huge project about improving customer experience, some kind of products like mortgage product or the credit or cash loan product, and sometimes it's a short, for example, the projects about how we can actually how we can actually improve some kind of the part of the customer journey. So basically, it's helping through the understanding their needs and then thinking about the tools that help them achieve their goals. So sometimes it's user research, sometimes there are some kind of UX audits, but the audits, it's not only about the digital things and about the customer, but to dig in the organization, try to whether the pain point which are actually in a customer experience, in a customer journey, there are because of the, for example, badly designed application or maybe badly designed process. So basically, it's workshops trying to help them define their needs. So it's more about the communication. Of course, we are actually designing things like service blueprints or customer journeys. However, it's mainly it's communication. Mainly it's fortunately, or maybe it's surprisingly, that's about the communication, about the defining the needs of the stakeholders.
And before I ask Melanie's question, I just want to kind of circle back because we've talked about stakeholders and workshops and meetings, but from a previous conversation you and I have had, I was under the impression that sometimes you're doing days, if not weeks, of research where you might be interviewing people, you might go into the bank branch and watch people or speak to them there. Let's talk a little bit about how your role, it says service design, but it sounds like there's a lot of research in there.
Exactly. To be honest, it's an important phase of creating new services, or actually trying to improve the customer experience. Regarding this user research, actually during the work we are combining different methods. Sometimes we are actually focusing on actually on very long user research because the organization is huge. For example, when we had a situation with we are working on a mortgage loan, we are actually tracking whole mortgage application through whole process. So we were actually interviewing the branch employees. We were interviewing also customers, but we also interviewed back office staff. Thanks to that, we are able to draw a huge customer journey, which is actually not only customer journey but also try to draw a huge service blueprint. So we are also try to add the systems, back office processes, and other stuff. So the crucial role actually playing the user research. And you can ask, okay, but what is the difference between UX research and a service design research? And suddenly you realize that we are using the same tools, but sometimes we are using different approach to the tools, for example, and the methods. For example, we are focused on actually quantitative research. We are actually trying to observe our customers, observe our employees, how they actually are working. But sometimes, which is a little different approach, but sometimes we are actually trying to try to use the triangulation to whole research is very important, because we are actually trying to find the data and try to combine the data with also observation, quantitative and qualitative user research methods.
Great, thank
But
you. Yeah, sorry, you have a couple of Wi-Fi blips, but we're happy to have you back. Udipta wants to know, what are the skills that are required for a service design job? I know there's a long list.
Yeah, this is the long list, but I would say that the first of all skill, it's a user research skill. You have to know how to do the research, what are the types of the research, when to use the research, and how to use the research, how to create a report which is actually which has a value for the business. So this is the very important thing about the user research. Is also communication, how to communicate effectively the results of the work, like user research. But also another very important skill is a facilitation, because more and more situation requires actually facilitating meetings and workshops. But also it's important to know about human-centered design. It's also I would say it's foundation knowledge is important, how to design, what kind of process we can use during the human-centered design approach. And other skills which are very useful, actually, it's prototyping, and different type of the prototyping, because sometimes it will be a very simple prototype of some kind of application. Sometimes it's a physical space, and we should prototype, for example, the branch of the bank, or try to figure it out how the customers entering the bank, what are the pain points, how he is dealing with the employees of the bank. So basically, we should know different types of prototyping and prototypes, and how to prototype. What is very important, because we don't have to be the experts on every type of the prototypes. You have to know how to prototype and try to involve other specialists. For example, when I have a strict, the project is all about the UX design, I know that the UX designer, it will be essential in the project, but basically I know that some part of the project will require user researcher, or sometimes it's required, for example, UI designer. It depends on situation, but this is the huge the main part is to know what is important. So as I mentioned, communication, facilitation, human-centered design approach, user research, as I mentioned, prototyping is also important. And I would say that is a crucial skills to know. Also, it will be helpful if the person knows systems thinking, so how to deal with huge systems, because service designer, for example, in huge organization, complex organization, should know how to deal with a complicated structure of the company, and how to, for example, create a stakeholder, how to actually engage the stakeholders. So I would say that another important skill is actually managing the stakeholders. So this is important. And another thing is that even though you have dealing sometimes with physical touch points, the foundation of service designer are very similar to UX design. You have to know, usability. You have to know what is the core of the usability. So I would say that it's the service designer unicorn will be like UX designer with competences of service design, I would say.
Great. Yes, it's a lot of stuff. And Janice asks, when you talk about workshops, what are some examples of workshops you've facilitated?
Well, it depends on the need of the stakeholders. Sometimes it's like problem framing workshops. So what is the problem? Sometimes it's like ideations workshops, some co-creation, because one of the foundation of service design is to actually invite other stakeholders into the process. It's not only about designing things by own, but also to invite other stakeholders and try to create something together. So basically, you have ideation, you have problem framing. Sometimes are just workshops how to implement things. So how to, for example, the roadmap of implementation. Sometimes you have to sketch customer journeys, and I would say that crucial workshops are very important are service blueprint workshops, because it's not like that service designer is just sketching the service blueprint. It requires lots of people from an organization, product managers, process people who are actually dealing with the process, people who are from the back office, so architects. So basically, there are different workshops. It depends on different needs, but you have to be prepared to conduct every type of the workshop. Sometimes it's just to create one vision of the product, like value proposition, different types of workshops. So basically, it's also important and crucial part of the service design role, I think.
And before I get to some of the other questions that have popped up, I think we should stop for a moment and give a nice definition of service blueprint, because we're throwing that word around, and I think a lot of people are not going to be familiar with the service blueprint. So tell us more about what is a service blueprint and how do we make it?
Well, the service blueprint, it's actually the whole description, description of the service. It's not only customer journey. So this is the journey of the customer, but also the journey of ease and whole touch points. So in our blueprint, we have a customer journey, so whole actually journey of the customer, but we also have the touch points. So where our customer is involved, on where actually is dealing with our solution. So it could be digital, it could be physical. So you have customer journey, digital touch points, but also you have back office, so the front stage and the back stage. So service blueprint is actually very detailed plan, journey of our client, but also our employees who are actually delivering the value to our customers. So basically, you have the customer journey, touch points, and the back office processes which are supporting our client. So the best solution, we have different approach to service blueprints. Each service designer has different approach, but my approach is like, first of all, try to describe the customer journey, try to figure it out, what is the right customer journey, then try to add another layer with the touch points and another layer with a organization, systems and processes and people. In that case, you have actually can describe everything about the journey of the customer and which part of the organization has huge impact on the step in the customer journey. Sometimes it's not a person, sometimes it's systems, sometimes some kind of process. So it depends on situation. So I would say it's important that because you asked how to create collaboratively, you should involve people, you should invite person from other departments to create a detailed plan of the service. service blueprint. I hope that definition is clear.
I liked it. I want to give an example again before we get to some of the questions that were asked. And so here's an example, and you can tell me if I have this idea right. I recently changed my mobile phone carrier to another company, and to do that, I went to a vending machine. So I had this kind of physical box with a digital interface where they scanned my identification, and I had to put in some information, and then a SIM card came out, and then they said, great, your phone service is active, and now we have to go change your phone number from the other company to our company. That will take about 3 days. And when I think of some of the aspects of service design and service blueprinting there that I think sometimes a UX designer may or may not think about, you have the backstage process of someone had to put SIM cards in the vending machine.
Exactly. You got the point. Exactly. It's about the back office thing. So you have the same thing with, for example, with as you mentioned, telecoms are a great experience. But for example, in a bank, so it's like the customer is, receiving a text message. You have great offer of a cash loan. Oh, it's great, interest rate, great, and I'm going to the branch, and suddenly in the branch, they are telling you, we don't have this offer at all. Why?
It's
okay,
web
and suddenly
only.
it's web only, and why? And suddenly the CRM wasn't prepared for that. The person in the branch didn't have information in his system. Why? We don't know that, so we have to investigate it. And this is whole process. But the situation is much more complicated when the same person is calling to the contact center, and suddenly they are giving the person, our customer, another offer which is completely different. And why? So this is the place where we can actually sketch the service blueprint, understand which system actually should communicate to the branch, which system should communicate, or which information should communicate with different system, which process is responsible for communication with our customers. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and just to add to that, to make it even clearer for the people watching, let's give another example from my example. We have the idea that now the new phone company is going to work with my old phone company to transfer my phone number to the new service. Now, I don't see that happening, so that's a backstage process. But there are front stage or on stage moments where I get a text message or a notification. Hey, we're working on this. It should be ready in 2 days. Or, hey, we're finished. Your phone number is now converted over and welcome. So those are the things that I see. But there are things happening behind the scenes that have to happen correctly and efficiently for the process to be successful.
Yes, exactly, and especially it's you can see that in complex services because, as you mentioned, telecom, banks, but more and more people are actually sick in a health, in a hospital, the hospital or other organizations. So it depends on organization, but yeah, basically it's about back office systems and people and everything. And what is important that when we are actually designing things, we are focusing more about the client, but sometimes forgetting about the organization. So this is the point where service design trying to combine the point of view of customer, but as well as organization needs.
Yeah, thanks for that. And everybody keep asking your questions. I'm going to go to Udipta's question. I'm going to reword it a little bit. And his question, I think he's kind of saying, if a company is hiring a service designer, does that mean their UX maturity is high?
Well, I think that the companies they need they think that their awareness of the customer experience it's really high and a UX maturity because they suddenly realize that although they are efficient in digital touch points, they are lacking some kind of person who is also helping to see see but maybe try to deal with a bigger picture, I would say. And I think this, I agree with that statement, because more and more companies realize that not building not only UX teams but also service design. And I think it's a good signal that the company realized that customer experience are some the customer we, during building the customer experience, it's good to have a person who will actually deal with not only front office experience but also back office experience. And more and companies are thinking how they are able to actually create unique user experience, at the back office, because it's also important. Employees started to be important for organizations, and service designers are sometimes and often, especially in finance, they are often focused on back office system. Thanks to that, they are actually not only delivered the value to customer, but also helping solve problems and pain points of people who are working in organizations. So yes, the maturity should be higher than normally. I hope that I answered the question.
Yeah, thank you. It sounds like it's true. Joe says, how do you distinguish and set up boundaries for your work? I'm hearing UX, product work, enterprise architecture. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's huge thing. I would say it depends on the project, because sometimes it's good to, the service design should know because of the knowledge, should know how to design the process. Sometimes the service, the competences, as you mentioned, there are lots of things, and sometimes you have to divide whether you can do it alone or you need a help. Sometimes you have huge projects when we actually the service designers is about to facilitate whole process, but should have support. So back to another question, the previous one, that the organization which has built the UX department, sales department, suddenly realized that it's a teamwork, and that is why dealing with such a competences is very difficult. But sometimes it depends on situation, and it's good to know when to call for backup. It's like that when we have huge product which requires different types of user research. I just ask whether I can have a help with a user researcher, because it will deliver the value for a whole project if we have additional help from user researchers. Sometimes we know that the project is based on a digital touch points. Then for sure we should have UX designer, UI designer, because we know that is also important. But sometimes it depends on situation, I would say.
So it sounds like you're not coming in and saying, everybody get out of my way. I'm doing everything. You're really saying, hey, I'm coordinating things and I'm working on finding and solving problems, but I need the product owner. I need the scrum master. I need more designers and more researchers.
Yeah, I think it's not only about the coordination, about the awareness of the building the awareness among the organization, among the product owners and scrum masters, that it is not single it's not one person army. It's about the teams, it's about the team, it's about the collective work, it's about the teamwork. And what is important, that service designers, and I try to actually show the value that, okay, I know that you would like to just solve small problem, but you should actually think about whole process, whole experience. Maybe we can do a user research, maybe we can actually change or eliminate most of the usability issues in the systems, maybe we can actually create different communication for client. So basically it's about the coordinations of things. But you can ask, so what are the deliverables for the service designers? So, well, it could be service blueprint, it could be customer journey, it could be even a user research report, because service designers should, as I mentioned, should conduct user research, because it's also important to understand the customers and the problem and the employees or the end users.
Great, thanks. Udipta asks, any tips on not over analyzing when you have tons of touch points?
Well, try to find the critical one, and this is the most important thing: how to not to analyze. Try to sketch, as I mentioned. First layer we have customer journey. Then try to find the touch points. We know that we have different touch points: mobile phone, text message, maybe web. But if we actually try to map out everything, then we realized that we have some touch points which are crucial. And I think I would focus on crucial touch points, which has huge impact on the customer experience or user experience and the organization experience. Because if we know that we are not able to change something, for example, we know that we have to send the text message. As you mentioned, the telecoms during, for example, during finalizing agreement, they are also sending text message. And I don't know why I would actually change it, but if this touch point is not important for customer and for the organization, we can actually focus on other touch points. It depends where the experience is, important for the customers. If the pain points is on some touch point, try to focus. And I would say it's hard to not analyze. This is the point. We should analyze everything and then think about what is important. That is why I have service blueprint. It's a roadmap not only for a service, it's a roadmap for a designer. What's important in this whole situation? Is it usability of web application or the mobile application, or maybe it's not about the usability issue, maybe it's about the process, maybe it's about that we are not able to deliver some kind of offer which are actually we are advertising in our mobile application. So basically it could be about the processes, and then we can see the huge map with other in our organization, try to understand what is important here, what we should do.
So before I ask you about education and how you learn to do service design, Janice has a question. How do you prioritize your work? Do you typically work on one project at a time?
No, actually, no. It's well in our team actually, which is actually was small team, which actually was create a huge team. It depends on situation, the priorities of our team, but also priorities of organization. Sometimes we have I have one huge project or product, unfortunately product, because most of the organization are product oriented. However, sometimes I have small, I would say, small projects. Like as I mentioned, sometimes we are in the middle one huge project, like huge for improve customer experience in mortgage loan, and sometimes it's like small help for product owner to understand what is the main pain point in customer journey, like try to figure it out to how to improve the some kind of customer experience, how to work on some kind of touch points, how to work on some kind of pain points. It depends on the project, but actually it's one project, one product, but also additional things, small workshops. It's like I would say our departments, it's like small agency, because we're actually trying to offer small services which are actually deliver value for business. So for some product owner, it will be helpful to co-create and have a co-creation workshops to, for example, ideate on some kind of interesting solution for a new feature. But sometimes it's about conducting huge customer journey, and sometimes it's about just trying to frame the problem, because the business owner, the product owner, they are facing some kind of problems, but they are not able to actually describe in a tangible way. So thanks to that, I'm able to help to frame the problem. So answering short in this question, yes, one huge product and small services for other part of the organization. And about the prioritization, yeah, it's about the prioritization. I do apologize.
No, go ahead.
for it depends on our actually priorities, because we know that in some case the products we need to help some product owners. It depends on situation. So yeah, it's like that.
And let's talk about education, because very often when we talk about techniques on this channel, everyone's like, well, how do I learn this?
Wow.
And so I think the first question that tends to be on a lot of people's minds, and we can take this in pieces, is do I need a university bachelor's or master's degree to work in service design?
Well, I don't think so. For sure, it is helpful because it's a deep dive in this service design field, knowledge field. But I would say that it's good to have knowledge from user experience design field, and also think about learning in additional courses. For example, in Poland, we don't have a degree like MA or BA, bachelor or master degree, but there were as post graduate studies, and I decided to take the postgraduate studies. It was actually the beginning of the journey. It was helpful because so it's helpful because it's giving you the foundation of service design. But after all, it's good to combine the key actually competences from other courses. I would say, for example, you can actually look for resources on internet. There is a service design network. I'm also the member of Service Design Network. It's huge organizations. I think the only one in Europe in general organization, which provide not only information resources about service design. They are organizing also global conference, but also they are providing different types of courses, and also they are publishing Touchpoint magazine, so we can learn not only from courses but also from case studies, and it's like that. So basically, there are not many courses to be honest. And when you try to go through internet, you have different resources. But right now I recommend Service Design Network, and for example, additional courses which are organized by different companies, which are specialized in service design. So it's like that. To be honest, it's not necessary to have this university degree, but for sure it will be helpful. But I know that it will take a long time.
And I'm taking a look now at the Service Design Network website, which is, I think it was like service-design-network.org or something like that. And it looks like we are just in time for their conference. Their conference is coming up in a few weeks, so people can still catch it. It looks like I'm trying to figure out what it costs. It looks like it's not too badly priced. So I'll definitely check out attending this. Thank you so much. And people can check out the Service Design Network conference as well. It's in person and online. So thanks to them for making both of those available for some people who aren't or can't travel right now. I want to also mention that before we went live, we were talking about taking courses. I was thinking, oh, should I take the Service Design Network's next course? And you said it can really depend on the instructor, and that you weren't sure if you wanted to recommend that course to me or not. Not that the Service Design Network would necessarily offer a bad course, but you just weren't familiar. It sounded like you weren't familiar with the instructor, and so you weren't too sure. So is this the kind of thing where I can trust Service Design Network to find a great instructor, or I should really ask an expert about each instructor?
To be honest, it's like that. The organization providing service design accreditation. So if most of the trainers should have this accreditation, and for sure, if the person is accredited trainer, you can be sure that the person is well prepared. The person can show the practical and theoretical knowledge, and also for sure the person has the experience. And I really trust this I would say accreditation. But my advice is that it's better to check. Sometimes, for example, my advice in general, it's good to take the course, for example, from Service Design Network, because you have practical trainers, and everything is packed in one place. Sometimes there are promotions, and to be honest, because you mentioned well about the trainer, it depends. It's good to go to, for example, one single event of this trainer, because they have different courses, and it's good to go to check it whether it will be good for you. But basically, they are providing good quality courses, and they are good quality of resources, I would say. That is why I think that if you have opportunity, it's good to try it and check it, because it's I would say the place where you can find the information about service design. To be honest, I'm accredited practitioner, a service design accredited practitioner, and to be honest, this whole certification was based not only on the knowledge, but also we should tell about the case study, tell about what we did, and thanks to that, they are actually assessing whether you are able to receive the certification. And regarding this master certification, requirements are very high. I hope that I will be able to answer the question.
Yeah, that is good. Now I'm thinking maybe I should take the course with this guy because
Yeah,
it starts next week and I have to decide really
yeah,
soon. Maybe I'll do it. We've got 3 questions in the chat. We'll start with Janice's. Janice says, "Are entry-level service design roles a thing?"
yeah. This is the point. I will not. I will be transparent about that. We have the same situation in Poland. To be honest, Poland is the market where we don't have lots of service designer. We have lots of agency which are serving service design, but it's on high level. It's very difficult to find the junior role. And my advice is to try to think or check the job description, because to be honest, more and more companies, they are looking for these competences, like creating customer experience, trying to deliver the customer experience, defined what are the user needs, but they are not naming it service designer. Sometimes it's a customer experience specialist, they are customer journey specialist. So my advice is to check, to scan for the jobs which are actually describing the role which is similar to service design, and try to apply. Thanks to that, maybe in the future you are able to actually have impact on the title. But yeah, I agree with that. It's very difficult, and it's a very rare situation when you have a junior service designer. But to be honest, I would say this is my recommendation from, I would say, Polish market. I hope that it could be the same in your market. It's like that, and try to scan for service design jobs. I think I sent Debbie another link to the website where they are publishing the service design jobs after the show, so we are able to actually distribute it.
Yeah, thank you.
So
I'll add that to the YouTube description. So if anybody's watching this later, go to the YouTube description. We'll get that in there. Thank you so much. And also, let's see. Vicky asks about the major difference between product and service design. I feel like we did cover that towards the beginning of the show, but if you have a short version, so we can jump to the next question. Short version
well, yeah.
difference between product and service design.
I would say that product design. I mean, product design is it's really it's the person. I mean, the product design is mainly about the strategy, also about the design. But I would say they're focused on, I would say, single product, and service design is much more about the complex situation, complex products and services. So basically, the difference is like, product designer can operate in company in a working on one product, and service design often actually breaking the silos in organizations, and actually delivering value, not only the customer experience through different channels, different processes. Product designer is much more focused on the one product or maybe the ecosystem, but not about the organizations. As you can see, long story short, I often mentioned organization, people, and other stakeholders. So I would say service design is also more about the people organization, about trying to gather the people and trying to create the value. Yeah. So I hope that it will be helpful.
Yeah, and of course, if anyone's joining late, please definitely start the video over at the beginning, because we gave lots of great information about what service design is and how it can be done. Gabby says, "How do you recommend proving the value of service design? What metrics or strategies have worked for you in the past?" And then I think we've got something written in Polish. So I'm assuming it's thank you, but I don't know.
Okay, so basically, it's great questions. So to be honest, I'm starting with asking the business representative or product managers. So what they are measuring, what they are want to achieve. what is their goal, objective, and I actually trying to help them to achieve the goal. So, for example, if for someone it's important to, for example, achieve a higher NPS, for me that will be metric of an NPS. Another person can ask, okay, I would like to reduce the customer effort, another metric, customer effort, and then I try, I will based on the same metric as the person, because actually I'm helping the person achieve the goal. So the measuring the measurement metrics depends on what they need, actually what they would like to achieve. So this is the my approach, I would say. Or maybe I can actually suggest some kind of metrics, because we have different metrics. It depends on the product, on the situation. It's a very funny thing, because I remember that one of the business owners, product owners, mentioned the person would like to reduce the time of processing application of mortgage loan. And we started thinking about, okay, so we have a metrics, time to cash, time to yes, and we have different also metrics, depends on situation. So yeah, I hope that I answered the question.
I'd say so. If anybody has questions, this is our last few minutes together. The show is almost over. So Vicky says, suggest some courses for service design. We did. We were talking about the Service Design Network, which is totally Googleable. They have a Service Design Network website, which has membership and events and other things. And then they have their SDN Academy, which is where they offer their courses, including the one I'm thinking about signing up, that starts on Monday, and that website is sdn-academy.org. These are not cheap courses, so these are not going to be, unfortunately, for everybody, especially since I missed the early bird price. This is over €1,000 if I decide to do this, so this is not cheap and not going to be for everybody. Can you recommend any service design, any other courses, or maybe some books?
Well, maybe I'll recommend also another thing. It's another website. It's Service Design Show from Mark Fontaine. I know it's very. I also send the website. It's great. Also show about the service design. It's great resources, because more and more people are actually sharing their knowledge. Another thing is this is service design doing website. I would say there is a book. There is also the course, but I recommend the book, and trying to go through the methods. They are actually on the website. You can find free tools. What kind of tools? The description of the tool, how to use it, and there are many information about that. Apart from that, I would say that there are also books about the the service design, but from the customer experience point of view. So I think it's also good. The another book I have, that one, service design for business. I also send the link for the book after
Great.
show. And about the in general, I think that it's good to find also the courses which are organized by practitioners. You can find courses on at the universities. And to be honest, it's good to ask the person whether it's like theoretical or the practical course, because this is the main point, that it's good to look for practitioners who are actually just doing the service design. You mentioned that there is someone from Poland, I think, but I don't see the question.
Oh no, they at the end of it was Gabby's question about metrics, and then they wrote something in what I think is Polish, but
Oh, I see.
I'm afraid to pronounce it. I'm going to
Yeah,
offend my ancestors. Let's just say that.
no problem.
So apologies to all of them. Let's see. Another thing. Oh yeah, Udipta wanted to know if you had any service design leaders or credible people who you like to follow on LinkedIn or social media.
Yes, of course. As I mentioned, there's the service. There is a service design show. It's Mark Fontaine, but also it's Ricardo Martinez. I will also send it. The person from Latin America, I think, and he's
And who's that
actually a
Kate
university.
person? You're telling me someone named Kate.
Kate, yeah, the Kate Munarczyk. Kate Munarczyk, unfortunately, is in Polish. I
Oh,
also
okay.
said is a Polish person, but she's actually owner of a company, Sociomania, which is actually also the service design agency in Poland, and it's good because it's good to follow a person from the country. Try to check for my recommendation because you are asking who to follow, and to be honest, it depends on the situation in the country because in each country you have different type of the context. If you are dealing with a different type of environment, the business, it's good to look for a person from your country. For example, in Poland we have a different person to follow, in worldwide as well. I can actually prepare, if you want, the list of the person you would like to follow and try to share it. I know it will be Google Docs or something like that. What do you think? It will be a good idea for the listeners to check who is worth following on LinkedIn.
Yeah, these all
But as I
sound great. Thank you. We are almost out of time, so let me just quickly remind people what's coming up on the Delta CX YouTube channel. Please do subscribe. We're coming up on 6,000 subscribers, which I'm very excited about. It's been slow but organic, so please spread the word to other people who might be interested in the channel. We need your help. There will not be a Friday show. My boyfriend and I have decided to sneak away for a little weekend in our camper, so there will not be a Friday show. If you send anything in for critical thinking, I will do it next Friday. There will be a Monday show if anyone sends me anything. So if you'd like to send something in for the Think Out Loud show, make sure you're sending it to deltacx.com/links. Send something in for the Monday show or it's not going to happen. Tuesday, of course, is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. We have a special late edition as a surprise guest. Apple and Banana will be joining us for next Tuesday's Office Hours. They're going to take your questions along with me. And next Wednesday's podcast, we have Grace, who's one of our Slack members who put together a PowerPoint presentation on something interesting. And I'm just going to tease it like that. She calls it Examining User Interface Frictions Through Design Fundamentals. So that'll be next week. Everyone says thank you. Udipta says enjoy your mini vacation. Thank you. I'm going to try to not look at too much email. Terrence says cool, Apple and Banana. Yeah, Varun will be here on Tuesday, so tune on in for that. Jan, any last comments or advice you want to give people before we say goodbye?
The one single thought, it's about the people, about co-design and designing with people, so the power is around you, so try to involve as many people as you can during the design process.
Groovy. Beautiful. All right. Well, then I will say thank you. I'm so glad we finally got this scheduled and done. We've been trying to put this together for some months, and thank you again for being in my book. And I guess I will catch you on Slack. If anybody wants to join our Slack or Discord, they're totally free. Just come to deltacx.com/links and you'll find your invitations waiting there to join one or both of our online communities. So I'm going to play us out of here. But Jan, thanks again, and I will see you soon. Bye.
It was a pleasure. Bye.
Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are